Hey guys, welcome back to another What's for Dinner video. I've got 6 awesome dinner ideas for you in this video. These are just regular schmegular meals that I have cooked my family being a busy working mom. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so first up, we are going to be making some chicken cutlets that I'm going to crust with panko breadcrumbs, some broccoli, and some baked potatoes because I needed an easy dinner on this night and I wasn't in the mood to hear any complaining from my family, and this is something everyone loves. So I'm taking some russet potatoes. I washed these, scrubbed them, rinsed them, dried them off. I have them on a baking sheet here. I'm going to drizzle them with some olive oil, season them with salt, and I do poke holes in them to make sure that they don't explode. And then I'm going to bake those in the oven at 425 degrees for about an hour. While those are baking, I'm going to prepare my chicken. So I have some spice blend here that I had in my pantry, wanted to use that up, and some thin cut chicken breast. So I'm just seasoning this generously on each side with the seasoning blend, and then I will also season it with some salt and pepper because that particular seasoning blend did not have salt. And then I'm just going to let these sit and kind of soak up a little bit of that flavor while I start preparing everything else. Okay, so I am going to prepare my breading for my chicken cutlets, and I've got a couple of eggs here. I'm just going to beat those up in a shallow dish, or you could also use a pie plate. And then I'm going to add some panko breadcrumbs to my other bowl and basically just dunk these seasoned chicken cutlets into the egg and then into the breadcrumbs. And then I've got a stainless steel skillet. I just have some avocado oil in the bottom of that, just basically shallow frying these. They don't take very long at all because they are so thin, and this is a great idea for a quick dinner that everyone loves. My kids love to have chicken like this, and essentially you just want to cook this until it is golden brown on both sides, and then after it comes out of the oil, you can let it rest on a paper towel, sprinkle it with some salt, and just let it cool before you cut it up. Okay, so here is my plate. I went ahead and sliced up my chicken cutlets. This is also the same way that I make chicken parm, basically the same, except when I make chicken parm, I would put it in the oven and top it with some cheese and some marinara sauce and bake it afterwards. For the potatoes, I'm going to add some butter and some salt and pepper to those, and then I'm also going to add some shredded cheese. You can add sour cream, bacon bits, anything you want. Baked potatoes are a favorite in my house. Everyone really likes them, and a bonus, they are super easy to make. I also steamed up my broccoli and just seasoned that really simply with some butter and salt and pepper. Okay, so here is our dinner for tonight. We have our panko crusted chicken cutlets, baked potato, and broccoli, and I also cut up some fruit for the kids, and we're gonna have it with some of this Capital City Mambo sauce that one of you guys sent me. It's a sweet barbecue sauce. It is delicious, and everyone loved this meal. I want to take a quick break and thank Misen for sponsoring today's video. I've been working with them for so long here on my channel, and they are truly one of my favorites because I love their kitchen gadgets and appliances and their knives and just everything. Today I'm going to be sharing their nonstick skillet, which I pretty much use every single day that I cook in my kitchen, along with their knives. If you guys are not familiar with Misen, their mission is to inspire and enable great cooking. They offer premium kitchen tools sold at affordable prices. Their journey began with the awesome Misen's chef's knife and has since expanded to include nonstick pans. What's interesting about nonstick pans is that eventually all of them have their nonstick coating wear off, even the ones that claim to last. And for Misen, it's important to be transparent about that point. Their nonstick pans will not last forever, but they have been scientifically tested and proven to outlast ones that cost you twice as much as Misen's pans. And I can honestly vouch for that. I have had their nonstick pans for what seems like forever, and for real, they have been the longest lasting nonstick pans that I have ever owned. Their nonstick pans have a nonstick coating that is 2.5 times more effective than other nonstick pans that cost twice as much. And the other great thing is that their nonstick pan is induction, gas, and electric compatible, and it is also oven safe up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, which is fantastic, especially if you want to go from the stovetop into the oven. If you guys have not tried out their nonstick pans, I highly recommend them. You can go to the link in my description box below and use promo code Jen for 20% off your first order, which is a fantastic deal. So make sure that you take advantage of that. Again, check out the link in my description box below and use promo code JEN for 20% off your first order. You guys will not regret it. I promise you, they are the best nonstick pans I have ever owned. Okay, so next up we are doing breakfast. Can you remember if I did breakfast for breakfast or breakfast for dinner? I think this was actually something I made for breakfast, but you know what? You can have breakfast for dinner, so I'm including it in this video anyway. So on this day, I made bacon and French toast, and it's been a long time since I've made French toast with some really thick cut bread. So I'm starting out baking my bacon. I like to bake that on a rack on a sheet tray in the oven. It turns out great. Next, I have some French bread that I had in the refrigerator. I put it in there so it wouldn't go bad, and I basically just wanted to get it used up. It was a little bit stale, which is perfect for French toast. So I have a pie plate here, and I'm just adding some eggs to that, some half and half, or you could add milk. I'm going to add some cinnamon, a couple spoonfuls of sugar, and some vanilla. I don't measure when I make my French toast batter, but if you want to find a recipe online, totally go ahead and do that. I just have made it so many times that I don't need one anymore. So one tip I have is when you're using thick cut bread, do make sure that you kind of let it sit in the egg batter for a little bit to let it soak up. You don't want it to fall apart, but especially when you're using more thick cut bread like this, it's helpful to at least let it soak up a little bit so it reaches the middle of the bread. So I am using one of my mise nonstick pans, of course, for this French toast. It works great. I just have a little pat of butter in the bottom of there, and you just want to cook this over medium heat until it is golden brown on both sides. It doesn't take very long, but don't turn the heat up very high or it will kind of burn a little bit on the outside before it cooks all the way through. With this, we are going to have some fresh strawberries, so I'm just giving those a wash in my salad spinner. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plate everything up. I've got my French toast slices here, so I'm going to add those to the plate along with a couple slices of bacon. I'm going to add my strawberries to the plate as well. If you wanted to, you could put those on top of the French toast and do whipped cream, but we normally just do a little bit of syrup. I use the Aunt Jemima butter light syrup, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of powdered sugar just to make it look pretty. And here was our meal on this particular morning. So good. If you haven't made French toast in a while, I highly recommend it. Okay, so the next dinner that I'm going to share with you guys was a cheesy artichoke chicken sandwich with a kale salad on the side. This was from a meal kit, and it came in super handy on this night because I think this was a night when we got home from soccer fairly late in the afternoon, and I just didn't know what to cook, and so it was nice to have this on hand. So I'm going to start out by de-stemming all of my kale and washing that up. I'm just going to put it into my salad spinner once I take it off the stems and soak it in really cold water and go ahead and spin it dry. While that is working, I'm going to season my chicken breasts. I just have 4 chicken breasts here. I'm going to season those on both sides with salt and pepper. And I'm going to go ahead and spin my kale dry. If you don't like kale or you think you don't like kale, one of the things I would recommend is chopping it up fine and using it in a salad that you dress ahead of time, because it really does tenderize the kale and it doesn't taste so bitter. Another option is to always cook it in a soup. That works really well too, but right now I'm just chopping up the leaves and putting those into a bowl. Next, I'm going to add some of the dressing that came with this kit and some olive oil and some salt and pepper, and just give this a toss. You can also do this with just olive oil, lemon juice, salt and pepper, and kind of just let it sit to tenderize a little bit. There were also dates included with this particular salad recipe, which I thought was really good. Cranberries are another thing that's really good with kale. Anything sweet kind of stands up to the hearty flavor of the kale, and you can see me using my mise knife here. Holla, love it. Use it every single day. So I'm just going to chop these dates up pretty fine and get those into the salad bowl. Next, I'm going to add my sunflower seeds to the salad and just give that a toss and let it sit and let the flavors blend while I prepare the rest of the meal. Okay, so for this particular sandwich recipe, it called for sort of like I would liken it actually to kind of like a spinach artichoke dip without the spinach, but basically a cream cheese Parmesan artichoke spread that you put on the sandwiches when you assemble them. It was really, really good. And I was thinking about ways that you could also do this like a stuffed chicken breast, like take the artichoke cream cheese mixture and stuff it into a chicken breast and bake it that way. I think that would be really good as well. But here I'm just mixing together my artichokes, Parmesan cheese, and some cream cheese. And it's definitely easier to do if your cream cheese is softer, so take that into account. But just mix this together with a little bit of pepper and olive oil until everything is combined. Okay, so next I'm going to prep the rolls for the sandwiches. So I just have my ciabatta rolls here. I went ahead and sliced those with a serrated knife, and I'm putting them on a baking tray that I lined with foil just to work on diminishing my cleanup, because who doesn't want to do that? I melted some butter and I'm just brushing that over the cut sides of the ciabatta. Sprinkle those with a tiny bit of salt and pop them into the oven to toast. To make my chicken breast, I'm actually using one of my Mise stainless skillets. I really like those to give the chicken a nice crust, although one of the nonstick skillets would work just as well. Sometimes it just matters what I have clean, right? Sometimes I haven't done my dishes, and so I just use what I have on hand. But I'm going to take my chicken that I've pre-seasoned and put this into my pan and just sear that on either side until it is cooked through. Once it's cooked through, you just want to remove it to a plate and put some foil over the top and let it rest while you're assembling everything else. So I'm going to show you how I assembled these sandwiches. So I have my ciabatta rolls with some of the artichoke spread on there. I'm going to drizzle a little bit of vinaigrette and put the bun on top, add a bunch of salad to the side, and boom, this was dinner. It was good. You guys are going to ask me if my kids ate this. No, they did not, but I did make them the chicken separately, and they had some pasta on the side. But Adam and I really did enjoy this, and even Adam, who is not a huge kale lover, ate it as well. All right, so here's the next question. Can I make a what's for dinner video and not make tacos? No, I don't think I can. Tonight I am making chicken tacos, and I also had some leftover tri-tip that Adam had smoked. So we are going to do kind of double duty, both beef and chicken tacos. So I have some chicken breast here that I just cut up into small pieces, seasoned with salt and pepper, and I'm adding that to, yet again, my Mise nonstick skillet, which works great. So I'm just going to give that a saute. And then while that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and chop up my tri-tip. So again, Adam had made this on the smoker and it turned out really good, but it was just so much meat that we had some left over, and Adam was like, hey, why don't you make tacos out of the leftovers? And I was like, that sounds good. So what I did was I just trimmed off some of the larger pieces of fat, and I'm just cutting it up into kind of small bite-sized pieces, because we're obviously going to end up making tacos out of this. And what I decided to do was just cook it in a skillet, another one of my Mise nonstick skillets there next to the chicken. And basically I just kind of warmed that and crisped it up over medium heat. I'm also going to go ahead and chop up some lettuce for our tacos. So sometimes I buy pre-shredded lettuce, but on this day I had a head of iceberg on hand. So I'm going to go ahead and chop that up. And I always like to shred up my lettuce before I wash it. I just feel like it gets a lot cleaner that way. So I'm just cutting that up and getting it into my salad spinner. And then I'll give that a good wash, basically just soak it in really cold water. Sometimes I add lemon juice as well. I didn't with this particular batch because we're going to be eating it right away. But if it's greens that I'm going to be storing in the refrigerator, I do normally soak those with lemon juice just to make sure that they don't brown in the refrigerator. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys how I built some of these tacos. I've just got some flour tortillas here that I warmed up in a skillet, put some tri-tip on there, some shredded cheese, some pico de gallo. I also have some sour cream. I'm going to add some lettuce, and I think I added some hot sauce as well. I didn't share the chicken ones, but they looked exactly the same, just with chicken. And voila, super quick dinner that everyone loved. My kids will always eat tacos no matter what. Okay, so this dinner was also pretty quick, and I kind of just threw it together with things that I had in the fridge. I had this sous vide turkey Florentine meatloaf along with some turkey breast. I got both of these items from a Hungry Root order, and basically I order things like this for nights like this when I don't want to cook and I need something super quick. So since the turkey meatloaf is a sous vide dish anyway, I went ahead and put that in a pan of simmering water, and I'm going to heat it up that way. You can also heat it up in the oven if you wanted to. And then I am also going to cook some carrots. I had these carrot chips in my refrigerator that basically needed to get used up. So I just put those in a skillet with a little bit of water, and I'll steam them until they are tender. I also had a can of crescent rolls in the refrigerator that needed to be used. So I decided to make those on the side of this. I feel like maybe I originally bought them to make pigs in a blanket, but I totally forgot. So I'm just taking those out of the can and rolling those up, and I'll bake them in the oven as per the package directions. Another crescent crowd pleaser. Everyone loves the crescent rolls. So I needed a really simple side for this. I'm just going to make some egg noodles. My kids love them, just like very simply buttered and salted. Very, very easy. When the carrots were done cooking, I just added a few pats of butter, and then I'm also going to drizzle a little bit of honey over that and salt and pepper. If you've never made honey butter carrots before, they are delicious and I highly recommend it. It doesn't take a whole lot of honey. Basically, I just drizzle over, I would say maybe about like 2 teaspoons for the whole pan. You don't want it like super sweet, just enough sweetness that you can taste it, and my kids really love it. You could also make this with carrots that you slice on your own, or baby carrots work as well. Okay, so unfortunately I did not get a picture of the meatloaf when it was finished, but you can imagine what meatloaf looks like. The kids don't care for meatloaf, so they had the turkey breast that I warmed up in the oven, noodles, carrots, and rolls. Adam and I had the meatloaf with the same thing, and it was really good. Obviously a super quick dinner, but tastes homemade. Okay, so this next recipe is a crock pot recipe, and it is a honey chipotle shredded chicken, and you make it in the crock pot, and you can basically make this for tacos or tostadas. I'm going to use it for burrito bowls, but I'll link this recipe down below. It's really good and I would recommend it. In my bowl there, I have some chipotle peppers, some honey, and then I'm going to season that with some onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. And then I'm also going to add the juice of 1 lime to that and whisk that all together. And this basically gets poured on top of my chicken breast in the crock pot. So I've got 4 large chicken breasts in my crock pot here. Just going to pour that sauce over, and then you can cook this on low for 8 hours. I was running out of time on this day, so I believe I cooked it on high for probably 3 to 4 hours. But yeah, it's up to you. If you have your crap together and get it done earlier in the day, then just cook it on low. So I wanted to, like I said, make burrito bowls with this, so I needed some rice to go with that. I like to bake my brown rice. The recipe is in my cookbook. Super easy. Basically, you just add some brown rice, some butter, some salt to a 9x13 dish. You pour over some boiling water and give it a stir, cover it up with foil, and stick it in the oven for an hour, and it's done. It's the easiest way to make rice other than an Instant Pot, I think. So here's the chicken after it's done cooking. You can see there that it shreds super, super easily with this little fork deal that I've got going on. I don't know, it's a rubber fork. I'll link it down below. I got it on Amazon. It's sort of like that rubber fork that I had from Cuisinart, but that broke and I needed something else to replace it. So this is what I ended up with. Okay, so here's my rice. Basically, after that is done, you can just fluff it with a fork, and then you kind of just want to let it sit uncovered for about 5 minutes just to make sure that it doesn't get sticky. And that's basically it. All right, so we're going to build our burrito bowls here. I'm going to put some of that brown rice in the bottom. I also heated up some black beans, added the shredded chicken, some cheese, some avocado. You can add whatever you want to this. I should have made some corn salsa. I was like running out of energy on this day, but I also added some lettuce and some sour cream, some salsa. But this is a super easy dish and everyone loves it. And you can obviously customize it to meet your family's needs. If you're doing low carb, you could do cauliflower rice, leave the beans out. The options are really endless. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and got some easy dinner ideas for your own family. Don't forget to check out Misen. I'll have that link in the description box below. You can use code JEN for 20% off your first order. Thanks so much for watching today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.